morning, everybody. We'll begin today's session. This is the first question. The 5 most recent cricket scores of 4 teams are given here. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4. Based on this information, we have to identify the team with the most consistent performance. Consistent means least variance in their scores and write its average. The answer has to be the average of the team with the most consistent performance. Okay. So when you solve this, this is how the average works. We first find the average of all teams, which is written here. This is the average of all teams. Followed by, we'll identify which is the maximum score, what is the minimum score. Once we find the maximum and the minimum, we find the difference that is there between the average and the maximum score, and the difference that is there between the minimum and the average score for each team. So when we say the consistent performance, the difference between the average of the average and the maximum and the minimum score has to be minimum for that team. Now, of all of this, team 2 is the only one with both the values as coming on the lower end. So henceforth, the correct answer will be the average of team 2, which is 286. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Count the number of spelling mistakes in the passage. We're given here a passage. We have to identify the total number of spelling mistakes that are there in the passage. Okay. The spelling mistakes that are there in the passages are there, conscientious, receive, attitudes, be के बदले bean आना चाहिए, commonplace and beginnings. Okay. The total number of spelling mistakes are 7. Moving to the next one. Shown below are 3 types of interlocking rods. There are total 12 rods, of which 6 are type A, 6 are type A, 2 are type B, and 4 are type C. What is the maximum length that can be achieved by connecting the rods? Okay. When we start connecting the rods, the maximum length can be achieved will be through this method. Now here A and C will be used first. Why? Because they both have connectors and the connecting parts together. So A, C, A, C, A, C. यहाँ पे C आएगा. A, C. Now so far I've used all the connectors that are there in C, which are 4. So after that I will use one A and then B. क्योंकि B में एक ही negative part है. That's why. So the total length that will be formed henceforth will be 7070. Okay. We'll move to the next one. The given figure is made up of these letters L, T, H, I, E, and F set in different orientation. Find the total number of occurrences of the capital letter T in the figure. How many times does T, the capital letter T, occur here? All right. So these are all the capital letters T that are there. The total number of occurrences of the capital letter T is 7. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Shown below to the left are 3 types of pencils, A, B, C. Find the total number of type A pencil in the figure on the right, which shows various pencils pointing in either of the 2 directions, up or down. We have to find the pencil type A here. Okay, so these are all the type A pencils that are there. The total number of type A pencils in the diagrams are 7. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Count the total number of parallelograms that are there in the figure. How many parallelograms are there in this figure? These are all the types of parallelograms. Single parallelograms 8. 2 parallelograms are 3, and then plus 1 will be the larger one, so 4. 3 वाले 3 parallelograms एक साथ आ रहे हो, वैसे 3, 1 here, and then this bigger one that comes out to 3. So 8 plus 4 plus 3, answer is 15. Okay. We'll move to the next one. A circular disc and a sphere of the same radius are floating above the ground. The circular disc is parallel to the ground. Which option shows the correct set of shadows that will fall on the ground when seen from top? Okay. So here the shadow that will be, because the angle is 45 degrees, the shadow of the circular disc will look like a circle only. So B is wrong and D is also wrong. Sphere ka shadow, now A and C is where to check the sphere shadow. Now because it's a sphere, it will be the shadow of a sphere will be ovoid. So option A is the one which is a correct one. All right, we move to the next one. Shown on the left is an image. Which option is the correct profile of this image? Okay, which of the options shows the correct profile of this image? In this case, we'll first look at by comparing all the profiles together. When you compare all the profiles together, you'll find this clip of option C is a little bit offsetted. यहाँ पे कम distance है, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा है. So C is wrong because यहाँ पे और यहाँ का distance is the same. That's why. Between A, B and D, when you again compare all of them together, you will find that A का ये वाला angle थोड़ा कम है, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा है distance. So A is also wrong. Between B and D, when you compare, you'll find D का ये वाला part थोड़ा कम है, यहाँ पे वो distance ज़्यादा है ये वाला. So D is wrong, henceforth B is the correct answer. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Which option is the mirror image of the sentence shown on the left? We have to identify the mirror image. Okay. So with case of option A, this is the wrong part. Option B, C में ये गलत है और option D में ये letter गलत लिखा है. So the correct answer that is there will be option B. Okay. We move to the next one. Shown below is an artistic representation of various dance forms of India. Which option shows the correct sequence of the dance form? We're given here a dance form and its abstract representation in a painting style. We have to identify which is the correct sequence of the dance form. So here the first one is Manipuri, next is Chau, third one is Bharatnatyam, and the fourth one is Kathakali. So the correct option is option D. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Shown below is the perspective view of the object, which is viewed from the direction of the arrow. The object is first rotated 90 degree clockwise about y-axis, then 180 degree anti-clockwise about x-axis, and followed by 90 degree anti-clockwise about y-axis. All rotations as viewed from the point of positive axis towards the origin of the respective axis. Which option shows the correct resultant view? Okay. Now this is a trick question because if you look at the rotation, पहले you are rotating 90 degree clockwise, and then in the third part, second I will read it later, but in the third part you are rotating 90 degree anti-clockwise along the same axis, which means the orientation without the second part, second rotation which is given, the orientation remains the same. आप clockwise कर रहे हो फिर anti-clockwise जा रहे हो, same degrees along one axis. Which means that the second point, which is 180 degree rotation, is the only option that is being performed here. So एक ही ऐसा figure है जिसका ये उल्टा वाला version है, 180 degree rotated version है, which is option C. Henceforth, C is the correct answer. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Shown on the left is an image printed on transparent sheet. If the sheet is folded along the dotted line, then which option will be the resultant view? When you fold this sheet along the dotted line, this is how the view will be formed, where the red part will come here. Based on that, option A में this part is a little bit problem. Option B में ये line छोटा है, बाकी सब में वो बड़ा है, और option C में ये वाला जो stroke है वो end तक जाता है, C में वो यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाता है. So A, B and C are wrong. D is the correct answer. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Shown below are keyframes of a character lifting a sack. Which option will replace the question mark? Okay. When you look at all the options together, you will find that C वाला जो option है, उसमें वो गिर जाएगा because he is standing on his tips and the weight is heavy. So C is not possible. D वाला और ये वाला figure दोनों same है, so D भी गलत है. A और B में हो सकता है confusion, but it's clearly option A is correct because B वाला part है वो it's more like a stable position, and then after that we need intermediate position if the stone is going to go on top. So B galat hai. Option A is the one which is the correct answer. Okay. With this, I will end today's session. Thank you so much for your time.